So this morning, I invite you to awaken to a new life. How about a new life? Or if you have a really great life, an even better life, why not? Well, this is what the Easter message is truly about for us here in New Thought Religious Science. It is a message of renewal, awakening and the light of a new day and a resurrected consciousness. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to resurrect our consciousness to higher levels, more evolved levels. A new day in resurrected consciousness, consciousness that expands and heightens itself into deeper levels of God awareness. That God within us, we're becoming more and more aware of it. And that is evolution, and that is what we are all about, evolution. You know that there are moments, you know what those moments are when you are in that state of newness, of resurrection. And moments which are guided by love and peace, and you feel the peace, you feel the love. And yes, that's why we're here this morning. This sacred and holy Easter morning, to be reminded that the possibility of coming alive into the glory of a new day is present in every moment. It's not just one time you can do it. You can do it anytime. And while that is why we're here this morning, coming alive into a new moment is only 1/3 of the Easter story. So we want to do all 3 parts of the Easter story because it's a story that's applicable to our lives. And if we only tell the one part, we miss 2 very important elements. In fact, this is the last day of 3 parts in the Easter stories. First, there was the depth of darkness, right? Next was the dawn of hope. And then was the resurrection of the day. And today we will explore each aspect of the Easter story and see whether it really is our story. And if we take it to completion and not get stuck in the first 2 parts or the first part, then we will see that we can come alive in the daylight of resurrection, a resurrected consciousness again and again and again. First, the darkness. The scripture tells us that on the day Jesus was crucified, darkness fell all over the land from the 6th to the 9th hour. And on that 9th hour, he died. It is reported in Matthew chapter 27 that when Jesus died, the curtains of the door of the temple were torn from top to bottom, and that a great earthquake occurred, causing some of the tombs to open up and release the spirits who were buried there. A lot of good stories in the Bible. These moments of crucifixion were a very dark and scary moment. And around the frightened, for those who were really frightened, for many it seemed as though all hope was lost, and that they believed it was destroyed. There was nothing left. From the human point of view, from the viewpoint of the facts in the material world, a death had occurred horribly and tragically, a death that felt devastating to all those around. In the metaphysical New Thought way, We look at everything in the Bible as allegorical for our lives. Can we not see in the darkness of a moment like that at certain times in our own lives, where it feels like things are just dying or dead? And so we're in the darkness, the dark night of the soul. And who hasn't faced a devastating, scary, and horrific time in their lives, where someone or something that was very, very important to us has died, where we have experienced the pain and the heartbreak of a crucifixion? Haven't we all? I know I have. I mean, if you're in this human realm, you have too. Some of you may be going through a crucifixion right now, that experience. And it's a dark night of the soul. So my friends, having those experiences comes with the human territory. In fact, the 19th century poet and philosopher Johann Wolfgang von Goethe wrote, "To be a traveler on this earth, you must know how to die and come to life again." Walter Starkey in It's All God wrote this. I want to read this. "The breaking up of old forms is Easter's prelude to a new level of life on earth. Death and resurrection don't come just once in a lifetime. Every time there is a divorce, a partner dies, a loved one dies, or you lose a job, every time that takes place, there's a shift in consciousness that follows. The old identity dies and a new one is born. There really is always something to learn in every situation and experience in our lives. Every shift in consciousness brings an identity crisis. The dark or the shadow side represents sometimes failure and should be avoided. That's what we think. Don't be negative at all. Well, sometimes, life happens and it's dark and we feel very negative, and that's okay. We give ourselves permission. We give ourselves permission because this is happening for us, not to us. So instead, when we see it as a flip side of resurrection, as no more than a stage in the creative and divine process, we will come out triumphant. We always will. That's from Walter Starkey. In fact, when we look at the history of humankind, and perhaps even our own personal history, we can see the crises, the breakdowns, the deaths of one sort or another. But always, when these things happen, they precede an evolutionary step or leap. Not even a step. We want to leap. In quantum physics, we do these quantum leaps. Well, I'm waiting for my quantum leap because I just want to be there, and really know it and embody it. So humankind is in the crisis mode right now, where systems and ways of being seem to be breaking down all over the place. They're not working and can no longer hold the evolution. We're always evolving. That's what we must remember. No one tells us that. We are always evolving, becoming more of. And that is wanting to come forth. And in order to come forth, the old must die. And it can be painful. It can be scary. It can be a lot of things. We die to the old paradigm, the old way of thinking. For we are in an evolutionary leap time right now. It's very important that we beings of light can hold that light for those that cannot. That is our mission, if you so choose. I feel it is. Can't you feel the shift, the leap that's taking place? Things are changing. Systems are breaking down. They no longer work the way they did. Natural and unnatural disasters are taking place all over the planet. There must be a crucifixion before we can have a resurrection. In fact, crucifixions opens us up to receive more. When we're always closed down and used to the same thing all the time, we never evolve, we never grow. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to go anymore. I'm fine right where I am. Well, it's going to happen anyway, because that's the way change in life is. From a standpoint of our consciousness, until we let go of this worn-out thinking, we do not have the room within us or the strength to contain the fullness of the Christ expression that is our divine birthright. The truth of our being wants to be felt, and it wants to be expressed, and only we can build that relationship with our indwelling nature of divinity, our God self. It's within each and every one of us. It's not out here, it's in here. But even knowing this knowing, you may wonder aloud if the darkness or if the pain will ever end. Sometimes when we're going through things, right? It really feels like, is this ever going to be over? Is this ever going to start? I think. All the different things that I went through, that I know we all have, and we're like, okay, when is this going to be over? Well, here's the thing. Sometimes living through a crisis not only is frightening, but it is endless. And we must remember, and it's so true, this too shall pass, because it always does. This too shall pass. If the pain will never end, just truly repeat that to yourself. This too shall pass. There's an old Hasidic saying, when we take one step toward God, God comes running to us. Moving from the darkness of the crucifixion to the dawn of hope requires one thing. One very, very important thing. Reaching out, or as I would say, reaching in to God, to life. We are wired to experience a higher power. That's why humans are always searching for a higher power, not knowing that they have the power, like Dorothy, all along within themselves, not realizing that. Jesus, the way shower, the master teacher, showed us the way on the cross when he said, according to the Lamsa Bible, into thy hands I commit my spirit. And that's from Luke 23:46 in the Lamsa Bible. And those words are a very powerful shift of consciousness. And they occur and the dawn of hope begins. And of course, that dawn must come before the resurrection of a new day in a new way. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, we are told, in the evening of the Sabbath, when the first day of the week began to dawn, there came Mary of Magdalene and the other Mary to see the womb. So the two Marys were there. Scripture tells us, at least in Mark and Luke, that they came with spices to anoint the body. Now, I certainly don't know what was going through their minds. And I wonder if they didn't in some way expect a miracle, because Jesus was known for his miracles. I'm a true believer in miracles, because they're always happening when we get out of the way, when we get out of doubt. There's always something that's beyond our comprehension. It's a miracle. So that they went there and anointed, and I think maybe they expected some kind of miracle. I want to say, if there's anyone here this morning who feels trapped in the darkness and does not see that shaft of light under the door, does not see the dawn of hope, know, really know that this spiritual community is here for you. After service, we have practitioners praying for you. They'll do a prayer out loud, or you can call any one of them up. The numbers are on the back of the bulletin, and get a session. Get an hour-long session and really get into it. You are not alone. That's the point. We are not alone. We truly are not. The dawn of hope does arrive for all of us. That's the good news. If we will let it, though, if we are willing to trust, even though it may not seem visible, we don't see the signs or feel the presence of Spirit resurrect our lives. It is like the analogy I used to have. I still do. Today's a perfect day for it, unfortunately. Even though there's lots and lots of clouds out there, there's a sun behind them shining. And that sun is always shining. And that's the same truth for us and the God of our being. It's always there for us. It's within us. It is us if we wake up to it. If we awaken to know that we are always loved and cared for. So, and now we move to, finally, the day. And once that occurs, coming alive, being resurrected into the day follows. In the Gospel of Matthew, again, chapter 28, the angel says to the Marys, "The angel of the Lord came down from heaven and went up and rolled away the stone from the door and sat on it. The appearance was like lightning, and his garments were white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards who were watching, they trembled and became as if dead. But the angel answered, saying to the women, 'You need not be afraid, for I know that you are seeking Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said he would.' There is no death, is what we believe. We live eternally. We're always rising from one human experience to the next experience. Whatever it is, there is no death. God can't die, so we can't die because we are God. We are God. I know it might shock some people, but it's just what we believe. We are God. We have this power within us to do great things, and Jesus told us this over and over again. So Easter is the new day. It's a new day and a realization of this resurrected consciousness. Even when everything appears dead in our lives, or if we have faith, if we have trust, if we invite just a glimmer of light to the dawn of hope to live in us, we will always rise again into new levels of life, of love. We are always rising when we are open and receptive to it. This is the promise of Easter. It is of Jesus rose. He rose, and so we are always rising. We are always rising. Remember the words of our Walter Starkey and It's All God. The breaking of the old forms is Easter's prelude to a new level of life on earth. Every time we cross the negativity out of our love consciousness, we are resurrected. Every time we realize that this thought and this belief and this action doesn't serve me, we are resurrected into a higher level of consciousness. As Apostle Paul said, we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. When we have the mind that Jesus Christ had, there is a transformation, a regeneration that happens in every cell of this body temple and mind. The glory of Easter is upon us as we rise and go forth into the daylight of a new consciousness. This is all so exciting to me. Maybe I'm just the only one that's excited about it, but it's a whole new consciousness. Why not? Why not? We can create anything that we put our minds to. And I believe this, my friends. This is the second coming. This is the second coming of Christ. The second coming is not when Jesus descends upon humanity again, but when humankind individually ascends in consciousness. When our consciousness keeps arising, we are the hope. We are the light that this planet, this world truly needs right now and always. When we experience the daylight of a resurrected consciousness, and when we go forth in a new consciousness and share it, this is our transformation. It truly is. And it's a transformation of a new way of thinking, of being, a shift in consciousness, the recognition of our magnificence, our power, and of the ever-present divine light that each one here is. Are you ready? Are you ready for the second coming of the Christ by accepting the darkness as part of the Easter cycle, by trusting God, even in the darkness, and by allowing yourself to be resurrected? Today is a very, very powerful day. And those things to which you commit to today will have a lifelong effect in our lives. Today we will commit to the fullness and the wholeness of who you are in spirit, to the God of your being. Develop that deep personal relationship and know it, because it's here to support us, to love us always. Today, will you commit to the fullness and the wholeness of who you are in spirit? Today, will you commit to finding the dawn of hope, even in the darkness? Today, will you stand tall in the sun, claiming your spiritual birthright through a consciousness resurrected in the light of day, the light of peace, power, and love? There was a song that I once heard, and it had this chorus in it. I'd like to read to you very short. And when the long night had been fought and won, we'll stand in the sun, and we will raise our hands and we will touch the sky. Together we will dance in robes of gold. And that is what a consciousness resurrected to the day looks like. My hope and my prayer is that in this very moment, this morning, a resurrection has occurred for each and every one of us. But we have knowing that there's so much more to us than what we think. So much more. And to believe that. We don't have to see it. You don't see most things. You don't see emotions. You don't see faith. You don't see any of that. But it's the faith, the trust, and the belief. Then the work of the way shower, the master teacher Jesus, who taught us so much in his New Thought teachings, because they were New Thought, was not done in vain. So I extend the blessings of love and the blessings of peace to each one of you, knowing that we are all one, truly, together. We are all one. There cannot be any separation in the divine. So I would like to say, God bless each one of us, and have a very blessed day. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.